Hey everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Night Show. And I hope you guys are doing well out there. Woo! Let's go. In fact, I think I might have stopped the beginning of my intro, but anyway, that's the way it goes sometimes. TJ Johnny in the house there. 2011 Bitcoin wallet moves 5 billion worth of crypto. Wow! Of Bitcoin, sorry, I mean. That's amazing. So big shout out there to TJ. Let us know anything else that's happening in that space. All right, let's get into it. We're going to have a great show, I'm sure. And don't forget to get in the chat there as well. TJ, what channel are you on? You must be on a different channel. Yeah, I'm on so many channels that you can't keep track of it all sometimes. Wookie's in the house there. Purple Rain, what classic? I have no idea what that is. He just does it just to put me off, but I have no idea what you're talking about. These people from New Zealand are crazy, mate. They're crazy. He's the last of his kind. We got Steve Wright in the house there. Superman, are you going to the new Superman movie that's going to be out real soon? They said it's in the States. No, it's a complete and utter woke fest. It's going to be a big political thing. They're just trying to damage our heroes. They're trying to damage our heroes and wokeify them. Nah, so I won't be watching that. So yeah, no. I've seen the previews and man, they're just wrecking the whole thing. Just usual thing. It's all intentional. Bunch of idiots. And some of the plot, I understand it's going to be like having ice agents or something after him or something stupid. Yeah, that's a miss for me. Just like Star Wars and Star Trek, I can't watch a lot of that these days either. They've just wokeified the whole thing. Star Wars is particularly brutal. But so is some of the Star Trek, and I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I cannot tell you I am massive sci-fi, but I refuse to watch all the woke contamination. That being said, if there's an episode or something like that that's like pretty clean, I'll watch that. I don't mind watching solid sort of classic sci-fi stuff. Yeah, I could say more about that, but we'll leave it there. Man, everyone's getting me going this morning. This is not how we were supposed to go to the show. We're not supposed to how we were supposed to start. That's hilarious. We're live. We're live. Everything goes wrong when you're live. We got Check My Pulse in the house there. What, Shaking Hexkins? Good to see Check My Pulse. My pulse. We got Wookie says, the last Wookie standing. The last Wookie standing. You are indeed in a galaxy far away. Speaking of Star Wars, yeah. It's bad. Yeah. Now, you already knew it was going to be a problem when they got rid of the last Superman, right? So just the way it goes. At least he's moving on to what's that, 40,000K. I think that's going to be incredible when that comes out. No one's going to be talking about anything else once 30,000K comes out, or whatever it is in the movies. 40,000 or 40,000 or 40,000K. What did I say? 30. I think it's 40. What? Okay, it's a rough start, everybody. Hey, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for everyone for joining the show with the rough start. But that's just the way it goes. We've had it's a bit of fun. Let me get the show and don't forget to send post it out. I'm just going to copy it here, and if you can share it out on X, that'd be great. Share show on X. Now we've got the cobwebs out of the way, so to speak. We got man, Wookie's going Rex, hashtag Rex. Yeah, we got Q Baller in the house there. Morning all, good to see you, Q Baller. Good to see you. Welcome, Craig. And of course, yeah, there is the show. Just take a second to repost that. That really does help a lot. And yeah, go for gold. Now I saw Ali Kane out there. Now I don't know whether I should talk about this. We're really starting off rough today. I saw Ali Kane out there today. In fact, I've got his post up at the moment. I don't know. Should have. We got Ali Kane. We're looking for 20 PulseChain influencers. Should I bring this up? No, maybe I shouldn't. We're looking for 20 PulseChain influencers, and I was going, well, I don't know if we've got that many actually on deck at the moment. And I know because I survey everything on PulseChain, and I mean literally survey it. So yeah, it is. I don't know if we've got that many. Like, there's lots of smaller ones around, and so I guess a lot of community influencer crossovers. There's tons. There's a decent amount. I wouldn't say it's tons, but a decent amount of those. But yeah, I don't know about the standard influencers out there. The sort of medium, larger ones. But yeah, it's Pulse Wars Season 2's coming. Excited about that. It might be something I might look at. Do my thing. I'll do that. All right, so that is cool. That is cool. Now we're going to get into what am I talking about? We're going to talk about the monster thread. If you haven't checked out the monster thread is out there. And don't forget to share that around. I'm just trying to find the monster thread actually. Let me just go to MVS's crypto show for a quick. He's our editor in chief. Doing a great job, and let's post that out. If you haven't checked out the monster thread, monster thread, weekly news, weekly PulseChain news, and I'll put the arrows because it seems to help with the link. So there's the monster thread. If you haven't checked it out, it's only been out for a day and a half, so hot off the press pretty much. All the latest news on PulseChain for the last week. If you're onboarding new people, it's a perfect thing to do that. It gives everyone an update of what's going on around PulseChain. And of course, we survey PulseChain, right? We survey PulseChain and get all the best, and we try to make it, get a lot of variety in there. So it's got a bit of everybody, reflect everybody, and we stay neutral. So it doesn't matter, if we like anybody or not like anybody or whatever. It's a real positive vibe. So get out there. It is cool. Too cool for school, as we say. We got Frank White in the house there. Bang, bang, bang. PulseChain gang. I like that, Frank. I hope you're doing well. If you haven't checked out Peerless Start, that's a whole PulseChain ecosystem map there from Frank White. Kind of cool. Let's see here. We got a few people in the house there. We're probably going to make. I probably need 1 or 2 moderators, so I got a couple of names in play. So we'll probably keep those up in the future. Or not that we've had a lot of problems lately, but it's always just cool to have more moderators, isn't it? All right, so that is the play. Let's get into it without further ado. We're going to start off and kick into some really cool stuff. And let me just go back to there. Bam. And where we're going? We're going up here, and let's cross over and get into the action. Now, what I'm going to be doing is going through, obviously, we're doing a PulseChain big review. So I posted this yesterday. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to get into, obviously, the markets. We're going to cover stock market, crypto market, and then we're going to get into PulseChain. And then at the end, if we have enough time, we may go through Mike Lee's interview that just came out. So we may do that. So and comment a little about that. We'll see how we get on for time. But that is where we're at. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the post. And here we are. So we got the post. I put this post out yesterday. I thought it was a long time coming. We really haven't had a big ecosystem coverage. And who better not to do it than myself, who covers PulseChain every day. There we go. So we are PulseChain. Are you ready? Is that big enough? Is that big enough to read? Maybe I should go to the full screen. What do you guys reckon? Let's have a look. Yeah, that's a bit better, eh? So, PulseChain, are you ready to get rich? And I'm not kidding. That's the statement, and we're pretty ambitious, but that will come from PulseChain. Now, we are going to have a look at the bridge update soon, so I will be talking about that. And let me get rid of that. Stable coins, mad gains, and a bit of magic 2025. So we're going to look at the road ahead. So I thought we'd start off with what PulseChain is at the moment. So the value of PulseChain, TVL, is circa 275 million right now. This reflects largely traditional DeFi projects, DEXs, lending, and stablecoins. That's essentially a lot of the big value on PulseChain, right? DEXs, lending, and stables. Pretty common, along a lot of chains in particular, although some chains may have a lot more meme coin value, I guess, if you want to look at that, which is not really included typically in standard TVLs. And of course, the key protocols that are included are PulseX, Liquid Loans, and Power City, Fiat, and 9mm and 9-inch. So those are typically the most valuable TVLs on the PulseChain, and a lot of them are underpriced at the moment, right? Which is may see a big reversal once PulseChain does rally. We see money go back into the big DeFi. So we shall see. But that is typically what happens. Stablecoins. PulseChain has $36 million in bridged in stables from yesterday, by the way. $36 million in bridged in stablecoins, DAI, USDC, and Tether. So that is $36 million. So you can see it's, let's argue that's around about, 10% of the total TVL value there based on these protocols up here. But also has its own native coins, of course. It's got Coast, which is 10.4 million. That's fiat backed, right? It's backed by US and pounds, I guess. We got 4 liquidity forks, $6.5 million. So we got Liquid Loans, Powder City, and which Power City's got 2, right? So it's got PXDC and XDC. So PulseX and Hex are backing those stablecoins, and then USDL is backed by Pulse. And then we have Ink Printer, which I forgot to add in the rest of tag there, but that is Fast Abdul, and that's ink printer with the ink dollar, and that's banked by ink, right? So those are the 4 Richard Hart core coins backing those 4 liquidity forks. And of course, if you add up, if you take those four liquidity forks, there's about 35 to 40 liquidity forks out in the market. And of course, this is from Ethereum, right? And it's been obviously a super successful decentralized stablecoin, and it is basically we are basically probably 4 out of the top 10. So out of those 35 to 40, we actually have some of the more valuable liquidity forks on PulseChain. So I think all 4 out of the top 10 as far as I remember. So that is pretty huge. And this is on a depressed market, right? It's on a depressed market where PulseChain's on a depressed market. So you can imagine once we start rallying, all these asset values all start to rise, right? That's a common sense sort of thing. So the total value. So if we add up all these stable coins, then we got total value of stables is at yesterday. So it's probably not too much different. Is at $52.9 million. Just give you an idea of the amount of stables on the PulseChain. Right, so we also have bridged in coins, right? So bridged in coins, Ethereum and Wrap Bitcoin, and they're worth about $20 million yesterday, right? So they're worth $20 million. So you can add that up. Then so that is kind of the asset side of things, right? So that's kind of all the asset sides of things, all that stuff there. Is how much we've got in there, and also how much can push up market prices and things like that, right? So that's how much sort of stable coins we've got around. The liquidity forks, I would add, are not so good for that. I mean, they're good for a stable coin, but 95% of the asset is sitting on the protocol earning yield. So it's not really great, as good as one would hope to move prices up. And then we're going to talk more about that in a minute. PulseChain trading volumes. So this is the spot trading, and of course, you guys know we cover this every day. This is basically one of our core things we cover, and that is trading volume. So spot, I call it spot. Of course, it's just stuff happening all the time. The chain's volume today, that was last night, was about 19 million, and we covered that in the live stream. It's pretty similar to that. This came very widely. More recently, it's been between 10 and 30 million. Of course, if you've been watching the show daily, you would know those ranges. And it's largely on PulseX 9mm PHUX, which we don't often cover. So PHUX adds a little bit extra volume, which is not included on here, and of course 9-inch as well. So those particularly PulseX 9mm 9-inch are doing most of the volume. We have a little bit of volume on I guess Change Now and other stuff like that, but it's really on these dexes. And then we have PHUX, which is probably slightly in addition to this range that I've got here, 90 million. In the past, protocols like Spark Swap and others contributed as well. We've obviously had dexes that have sort of come in with their own pools and stuff, but they tend to wane, right? They have high yields, they have experimental tokenomics, don't always play out. And Spark Swap's still doing a bit of volume, but and there were several others, but they're pretty passed away there. So yesterday, of course, we had PulseChain Freedom Day. I'm not aware of anything different to that. 7th of July, SEC era seems to be over. Onwards and upwards from here. And Nuclear Herb said no news is definitely good news, and that was yesterday. So we're going to quickly check on him and see whether he had any further update. Yeah, so that was the last update he had. So at the time, so I'm not aware of anything new around that. If you do know something new, let us know in the chat. But not aware of anything new. I haven't checked it today because I've been doing other things. But the legal site that we looked at yesterday. But certainly we had no news is good news. So maybe it's just a little waned. And therefore, I posted the PulseChain chart, right? Because that's kind of the beginning of the era. That chart yesterday, what it looks like is all pre-SEC. So remember, if PulseChain launched back here on the 13th of May, 2023, and it wasn't too far later, we got to, these are weekly candles, by the way, that we got to the 31st of July, 2023, and the SEC came out, and boy, did we get hammered, right? We got absolutely hammered. We went from a mean sacrifice price of 0001 all the way down to higher than where we are today, quadruple 034, which is crazy. And we're actually below that today, or at least yesterday, we were at quadruple 0266. So really, SEC has really, overall slammed the chain. It's not obviously the only thing. We've had many black swan and grey swan events affect the chain here. But definitely the SEC, kicked it all off, right? Kicked it all off because we were pretty much humming around 0001 for quite a long time, right? So probably what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, over 2 months we were humming around that 0001 price. Now, not to say that it would have held that, but then of course it's not to say that we wouldn't have gone up in value too, because we had lots of projects launching after this period, right? Which I've covered exclusively on this channel, pretty much, because that's what I was doing, right? No one else was really covering all the project launches. I was doing it, and here we were going through it. So that is kind of the plan. And of course, this is where we. So what's the point of this chart? Well, it's just kind of to show this is where we're going to start from, right? Now that we've got the SEC out of the way, it's really game on. Right? There's nothing really holding us back from having a big rally, and that is the point of the chart there. So this is kind of a snapshot of the beginning, as it were. So a fresh beginning. So yeah, farms on the rise. The hunt for high yield. We got Diamond Hand in the house there. Hey, good to see you, Diamond Hand. Big shout out. So the hunt for high yield. So what are we, when the market's all down on PulseChain, what are people looking for? Well, it's much more difficult to get X's. So you either got to speculate on the, every new token that launches and try and be early and try to get on the inside goss, all those sort of things. Or you can try and hunt yield. So we've actually seen, especially with Richard Hart earlier in the year, thinning out liquidity, lowering the incentive token on the PulseX farms, so the major farms, we've seen a change, right? So those seeking passive income or some quick returns typically chase dual rewards, that is farm tokens and fees, and not just fees from providing liquidity by staking their LP tokens. And of course, LP tokens, for those not aware, represent the liquidity they provide in trading pools, and they're actually a token that you get in your wallet for providing liquidity. That liquidity is taken out of your wallet. So if you provided Pulse and Hex, those would be taken out of your wallet, and then you'd get these LP tokens, which represent the ownership of that and the position, the mathematical position. And then, of course, you can take those LP tokens and put them in the farm. So that's basically the idea of farms. Originally, the top DEX, PulseX, PHUX, and 9MM dominated farming yields for those seeking high APRs. And you guys can remember it was good times. The APRs were extremely high, particularly for relatively safe investments in terms of the core Richard Hart core tokens and things like that. And for those seeking high APR farms, right? However, those are generally more modest rates now, especially PulseX, albeit you can still get some pretty high APRs on certain farm pools, right? Depending what they are. A new wave of farms, of course, are hitting the street, and this includes Emmett Farm from Kairos, which has been amazing. Some particular innovations in that have been the EDI pool, providing stablecoins. That's been very cool. Having very moderated inflation per day. That's been a really cool innovation from Emmett Farms. And of course, I would say having the partnerships and let's tag on the DAO to that as well has been very popular with that. So I think the partnerships in a way that keeping an open mind, and I think that Kairos has been very aggressive with the farms and done a great job there. So I think that's been really cool. Oftentimes projects will be relatively closed, like you see them do a partnership here or there, but not do as many as you would think. And of course, that's Emmett Farm has been doing that very well. Then of course we also had Vox, which came out. Vox came out, I think, slightly earlier, yeah, and that did it very well straight out of the gate. First couple of days, 3-4 days, did some pretty awesome returns, a couple $1 million in capital market cap, and of course Vox is still offering really great yields and got more planned coming up. They're going to be, you probably hear a lot more about Vox coming up in the week or two ahead. So Vox very dynamic and moving forward. And then of course we had Function Island just launched their yield farm the other day. Obviously they've had other farms like Island token, but they've also launched their yield token and a whole range of farms there. And also partner farms. So not only core tokens are in that farm earning high yield token, but also partners as well. So they've just launched that. And then of course we've got Nexian Pulse, right, which is really it's more than just a farm. So Nexian is much bigger, and that is offering. It's going to be offering a number of new DeFi protocols, which I think are going to be pretty valuable to PulseChain. And of course, they are offering at the moment, I think it's about 65 pools in there at the moment. Of course, Radon and Radon Greed and Rage are currently the big thing on that at the moment. And of course, they also will be offering new products though, including Glow, which will be coming up, and also NFT staking. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So that's coming up there. We also have obviously DAOs, pump tires, reflection tokens, and LP webbing. Those have been extremely dominant over the last 4 or 5 months in particular. The multitude of tokens are operating in the space on PulseChain. And yes, of course, we've got tons of memes as well. We get sometimes some every day, right? DAO setups like PDC and of course Surf Token from Crypto Paradise offer some real potential. So if you're looking outside of the Richard Hart coins, some of these DAO tokens are definitely, maybe could be considered kind of the closer blue chips. Now, they don't necessarily have super large liquidities, but they're pretty strong, decent communities with some pretty big influences and all that sort of stuff. So they offer a lot of cool stuff, and they have cool little tax setups as well, and of course the DAO treasuries. So they're pretty promising, and they do lots of partnerships. Particularly Crypto Paradise is doing an extremely good job, just like Emmett in particular with the partnership. So very excited there. And then, of course, we get into moving away from those kind of tokens, which are, there's a plethora of those sort of DAO, pump tire, reflection tokens, and LP webbing now. We also get into perpetuals. We haven't got a lot of this because it's a pretty specialized area. And, of course, the long and the short of it, if you like the pun, it's kind of funny. But, okay, so what you can go long, in other words, you're speculating the price will go up over time, or you can go short, you're speculating the price will go down over time, and you make money either way, right, depending on what you do. Now, obviously, Famous had launched a long time ago. That's a GMX fork, is the main game in town here. It hasn't had a lot of volume going through it for some time, and of course, because of just, I guess, the sentiment in the play, but it has up to 30x leverage with a limited token set. So it has the stable coins, of course, and has the Richard Hart core coins and a few others, but that's pretty much it. But one thing I would be doing is I think I don't know if it's picked up a little bit recently. We'll probably do a coverage of Famous coming up, but keep a lookout for open interest. So what's open interest? It's pretty much the positions of long and short, and you add them together, right? That's your open interest part when the rally is game on, right? So once we get a move on PulseChain, I'm sure there'll be lots more people taking up positions on the up market, presumably. So just keep a lookout for that. So open interest there. Now we got Nexian, of course. We talked about that earlier, but the farms. Now Nexian, I'm pretty excited because Psycho there, and I think it's Leaf. I think the devs are looking to really push the ecosystem here. So Nexian is really quite an ecosystem, and of course will be the new kid on the block soon, offering Glow. Glow will be their 10x leverage product and a potentially full range PulseChain token offering. So what I mean by that last part is that any project essentially could come in and provide liquidity, and then of course you'll be able to do up to 10x leverage on some of those tokens. So subject to the amount of liquidity available, of course. So that could be potentially good. We'll see what teams take that up, but you might be surprised. And it certainly, opens up any token community, particularly going on there. Maybe some of the larger ones we shall see. Obviously, you need a decent amount of liquidity to offer that sort of leverage, because I've got the lending aspect of it, right? So if you're going to offer 3x or 5x, you're going to have the liquidity available for that for the payday. We got Diamond Hand. Woohoo! Yeah, all right. So that's kind of cool. We've also got oracles, of course, moving to some of the support for protocols. So we've talked a lot about some of these popular tokens and DeFi in particular. And DeFi typically needs oracles. And so if we want to get more sophisticated, more reliable oracles, we saw with PDI Maker, right? When it got forked over, obviously, it had internal oracle, but the decentralized oracle, which had been added into Maker over on Ethereum, I think back in 2021, if I remember rightly, was not working. Of course, we didn't have an oracle, right? Obviously, recently, we've had Fetch Oracle launch from Liquid Loans. That's operating there. I'm not sure who's using that at the moment, but we've also got Signum oracles coming up in the future. And of course, Signum Oracle expect to have a few more bells and whistles potentially, and of course that could be pretty exciting. We're also expecting that to benefit, a whole new range of DeFi coming onto protocols. So if you want to actually launch Maker over on PulseChain, you got two oracles now. You could potentially use, assuming they're providing, the data that you need, right? But in terms of like Pulse price feed and things like that. So that is kind of cool. We'll keep a lookout for that. That's a theme that could happen over the next sort of 3 to 18 months. So we'll keep looking to see, what protocols has that enabled to come over and launch. That'll be pretty interesting. Obviously, people can be a reporter there if they get a certain amount of tokens, have to stake those tokens, and then they can report data for the Fetch Oracle and the Signum Oracle, price data and non-price data, and potentially tools like random number generators, so called, as we say. That leads us on into what's in the future. Obviously, we've got Signum Oracle coming. We've got Nexium Glow coming. But we've also got a number of other protocols coming. And this is not an exhaustive list because there are other protocols coming onto the PulseChain. But these are some key ones that I think are going to play a pretty big role. And we've got Tetra coming, obviously, and that's been obviously quite a bit of work to get that to the line, but it does seem to be very close. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, they were doing the skins for it. In other words, the UI UX sort of front end. It's going to be fully decentralized, so you're going to be downloading it. It's not going to be Web3. And it could open up DeFi to not only developers, but also retail punters as well, big time. And it might actually become a little niche. Maybe even, who knows, it could become even bigger niche. We're going to certainly try and cover it here on this show and see what we can do with it. But you could basically democratize or simplify the interactions. You don't need to be a coder so much to interact with smart contracts, Solidity contracts, and things like that. So it could have really opened up a world there of opportunity. So we're going to see what that's like. So at the moment, we have a number of DeFi protocols on PulseChain where you can create your own tokens and LP pools and all sorts of stuff. I'm thinking of Axel, and there's heaps of them. There's Midgard, Nexium, and many others. Right, there's a good amount. Often all of them have different features, and some of them better than others potentially. This could open that up directly, right? So people are able to interact with smart contracts and things like that. So that's adding, I think, to all those token creators. Then we've got Betabank coming. It's going to be a modified Aave fork for PDI. Obviously, PDI has been doing very well lately. And of course, this will add some more momentum for it because it's going to take PDI as a collateral for stablecoin. And then we're also going to have Pulse and PulseX in there. I do wonder whether he will include, as Nikki, the founder there, will include Wrap Bitcoin. It'd be pretty interesting. We're going to be covering Wrap Bitcoin again tomorrow. So we're going to look at all the Wrap Bitcoins on PulseChain because I think it's going to be potentially one of the cool narratives on PulseChain as we move forward into the bull market and altcoin season in particular. So we've got Nexium, of course. And Nexium's not only doing this Glow product with 10x leverage, but they're also going to be doing NFT staking farm. And that may reignite the whole NFT space. And as you guys know, we're pretty much the only influencer covering NFTs. We covered them all when they were launching. We had a few rug pulls, unfortunately. We obviously had, 8 different NFT marketplaces when we were covering it. And of course, they're still operating. People are still doing stuff on NFTs, but it really hasn't boomed. And of course, we're in a depressed market on PulseChain. It's kind of not surprising. There are a couple cool NFT collections out there, of course, that people can buy and sell. Of course, we got involved in heaps of them here on the channel. That is the play. Now, obviously, with NFTs, also, those are 721 contracts, 1155 contracts. And of course, we saw a Black Diamond that was pretty cool with the 1155. That's the first 1155 on the chain. And we also have, obviously, since that time, we've had new innovative 404 contracts, right? Which have that seven PRC 20 and of course 721 mixed together, and of course transferable between each other. And of course, we saw 404 contracts coming on there with Dipcatcher, and they've had some early success and continue on, right? So, and we also had 404 Mon out there, which is great. It's great stuff out there too. So I mean, there's a few in the 404 404 contract space on the old PulseChain. This could reignite the whole NFT space, and of course the 68 NFT marketplaces. I think some of the marketplaces have become a little deprecated and maybe not be working, but we've still got quite a few up and running, like Mintra, Pulse Markets, and Ocus Pocus and things like that. So still a few out there. But if you can actually take your NFT and then reward the NFT in a staking pool, that could reignite this product. So, like I say, Nexium brings some really cool products to the market. They've got Odd-Chain Bet and X Games, and this is when we might be scaling up to big audiences, right? So this is when we get to a much bigger audience here on across outside of PulseChain into other chains, and that is On-Chain Bet from Jacob and X Game there from Firewhale, one of our 2 big public whales. PulseChain's based multi-chain decentralized casinos. This is going to be pretty huge. Now, that multi-chain is very important. There's going to be across multiple chains. Obviously, on-chain bet's going to be using, I think, the Zero Bridge, and of course, X Game there as well is going to be across chain. So we'll see more about technology there, but it's going to be on multiple chains. And of course, they are both going to be decentralized casino offerings, and the technology is probably going to be different. That is very exciting. All right, very exciting. We will also go to the next level of entertainment. and of course that is going to be pretty huge, right? So we're going to have lots of more entertainment, and it's going to go next level quality, and so it's going to be exciting. This could be massive for adoption, the PulseChain, not only on the other chains but also people hearing about PulseChain, and of course bringing in new capital, in particular because a lot of the other chain capital potentially will be flowing in through to on-chain bet and X Game, right? So, and we know that for sure with X Game, that's going to be buy and burn, so that's going to be pretty big for the Solid X token. Pretty cool. But in any case, maybe one or both of these will be killer apps. I'm certainly feeling confident about X Game potentially being a killer app, and maybe on-chain bet there as well. But X Game in particular will have a big marketing budget, so that's why there's a difference between those two comments, because they'll potentially have a very large marketing budget, and of course they also have access to big influencers and networks on other chains as well. So that could be particularly huge. So keep a lookout for that. So these could be the killer apps. Everyone's after a killer app. Thinking of the Friends app on Base Chain. Could this be something like this that goes truly viral? And so we'll have a look at that. It's also going to have a 30% referral bonus to those that are promoting it. So it's a no-brainer for influencers, for big community people where they have networks and things like that. So it could be pretty exciting. And we're hunting that killer app. Obviously we talk about Richard Hart all the time and the Magic Carp ride, but there are other ways, of course, to adding value to PulseChain, and that is from developers, right? And if they get a killer app, that is next level stuff. So PUSD ALGO obviously is very important. Potentially, we talked about all the stable coins up here. Further up, we talked about those. So we talked about the stable coins that we had $53 million in stable coins, both bridged in and native. But 6.5 million in native stable coins. That out of that 50 million, I mean, it's just like what 6% or something. Was it 6%? So yeah, it's it could be. Was it 10%? Is it? Okay, 10%. My mind's not working quite now, but that is potentially PUSD ALGO could potentially add a lot to that 6 million, and so this is what I'm very excited about. This could be the first truly decentralized algorithm and stablecoin on PulseChain, and of course it will need a Signum Oracle. I said Octacle there, but it's actually Oracle. Signum Oracle, and of course it will be backed onto USDL as well. So it's a double level stablecoin really. It may be the holy grail of stablecoins with stability miners. It certainly worked on the test net, and so we're looking forward to that. I do consider it like Cult DeFi does, the flagship project for Jacob. Obviously, we talked about on-chain bet, and of course, he's also doing the big Mafia game that he's doing. But really, we both think that PUSD ALGO is his flagship. It is the DeFi protocol, and we could expect to see some pretty big value. Now, what have we seen recently with the recent launch of the last stablecoin, which was Ink Dollar, right, from Fast Abdul? This is worth, I think there's about 800 to 900,000, close to $900,000 worth of Ink dollars, all based on Ink. Well, obviously, we're looking for something a bit bigger than that. We sort of want to get something in the multi-millions of dollars, and potentially PUSD ALGO could do that, right? So, if not millions, and it would be fantastic if we get 10 millions, tens of millions. So that could be pretty exciting. So we will see. So what happens here? This is not going to be based unnecessarily on those tokens. People are going to be able to provide liquidity, and of course, there's going to be a dual token, right? So ALGO will be the token. Think of Terra Luna. So it's going to be the dual token, and PUSD will be the stable coin, right? So it's going to be a pretty big deal, and so we're looking forward to that. Now, time frame, obviously Signum Oracle has to launch first, and if Tetra is soon, we could see Signum Oracle launch within a week after that. He said 2 days, but we always know it's a bit later, right? So let's give it a week, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. But and then after that, we're going to get an update from Jacob around the PUSD ALGO. We do know that he has a team that's been developed. They were hired earlier in the year. And on the 19th of January this year, he said that he would give us a follow-up update about that. I do hope that he gets it to market soon. I mean, it was already running on testnet, so hopefully they'll get to market soon. One issue, Jacob's amazing with innovation and pushing DeFi, but the time that takes is far too long. So hopefully we'll get that out sooner than later, because that really, I think, could be huge. So yeah, and the timing in the market's pretty good right now to launch something very soon. So maybe in a month's time or 2 months, when the market's really starting to take off. I think everyone's pretty bullish about September, So that would be pretty cool if you could get it up by September. Would probably be when the market sentiment's turning, and people would be keen to participate in that. And of course, it's not only is a stable coin, but also you earn multiple yields on there as well. So I think that'd be pretty popular. That leads us into Sun Mini Meal. And now, obviously, we've been covering Sun Mini Meal as well. It's one of my Magnificent Seven, as you guys know, along with PDGC, the Richard Art Cores, and SolidX. SolidX, yeah. SolidX. And so, yeah, we've got Sun Mini Meal. Now, there is an update today for Sun Mini Meal. If you're in my strategy club, the link's in the video description there for the Crypto Night Show. Do join up. It's only $35, $35 a month, so really good value. We had a new member join today, so definitely join up to there. And of course, get in if you want to hear all the alpha. We talk a lot. I got a lot more depth, like a lot of numbers I don't say online. But you can get into Strategy Club and get in on that. So while we're doing it, we have monthly updates on everything in crypto. We also have the top 10 index, so you check that out as well. And also we have strategy chats, and of course a lot basically updates all, not every day I would say, but just about every day, and sometimes there could be a lot in one day, just depending on what's happening. So you get access to all that. So join up, and of course you can ask me questions as well if you're wondering what I'm thinking about certain things that I might not say on live stream. So you can get in there. Only $35 a month. Join up today. Look forward to seeing you in the strategy club. Made in the house there. What's up, Superman? Good to see you, mate. I like little Superman there. And Anita in the house there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, Anita. Always a pleasure. Yellowtail says any sell-off is great for us in the future, says Yellowtail. Indeed. Yeah, we're not quite out of the woods yet. We know until Trump really deals with the tariff, which is part of his strategy. We'll talk more about that later. We're going to have volatility in the market. Price is low. Selling at this low is great for us. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the bridge as well coming up, because that's also one of our key indicators. So we'll get to that. Welcome, Yellowtail. Yeah, Sun Mini Meal. So obviously we talked about developers building. We talked about stable coins and value coming. But we actually got Sun Mini Meal, and their ambition is to be the next Bitcoin within 5 years. And this is not a shallow claim, right? This is a very substantiated claim that they could actually do this. They actually have the means to actually do this. And of course, obviously actions have to follow up words. But Sun Mini Meal is our first real corporate on PulseChain. There were some little maybe mini baby corporates, but this is really our first major corporate on PulseChain. And they have got a superfood, which makes them particularly special, not just any corporate, but a corporate with a superfood where you can get all the nutrients inside less calories. So you only need about 800 calories a week with their food if you were to have it all week. And so it's pretty a day, I should say, 800 calories a day if you're going to have it every week. And so it is superfood. You get all your nutrients, and rather than having to eat tons and tons of food for only getting so much of your nutrients, and you might miss out on some. This is what you get. So corporate millions from Europe. And that's the other cool thing. It's from Europe, so not just America, not just Asia or somewhere. It's a whole different market, and we're getting a lot of stuff there. Now that will be going global. Of course, there's always challenges with going global. We won't go through all those, but you can think of some. And in time, that all that capital could flow into PulseChain. So where's the capital coming from? Now, obviously, they've talked about committing 20% of net sales. So that's basically a general formula is like revenue less about 7.5%. That gets you to net sales. So it's a lot of money, all right? It's a lot of money. They did 82 million euros last year, which is about 93 million US dollars. They're only starting this the buy and burn with the corporate net sales from 1st of January this year. So they may, by my count, they may have somewhere between, I don't know, 7 and 9 million US dollars in there, somewhere in that ballpark. At the moment, it's about 6 months of revenue. So that's probably on an annual basis, based on last year's data, that would be, about 16 to 17 million dollars, let's say, of buy and burn potential coming onto PulseChain. That's a new capital coming to PulseChain. That's pretty impressive. And that doesn't assume their growth rate. Their growth rate last year was huge. We're talking about 430% in the second half of last year compared to the first half of last year. And of course, they also won the competition, or I guess it's a show where you do it's a little bit like a Dragon Den show where you raise, you go and pitch, and they broke a record there. I think in the Netherlands for I think it was 2 or 3 million euro. I can't remember the exact number, but it was in that ballpark. So that is the play, and of course they're doing pretty well. Now, they're also going to have their customers. So they're going to be having a Rewards 2.0 program where the customers will get a 20% discount on price if they buy using Soil tokens, right? This is their token that they've got on PulseChain. And of course, that is potentially massive, right? That's potentially massive because as more and more customers realize that, and of course, that they're going to make it easy with their new wallet and all everything else, their bridge and everything, and that could be super easy. So we could see that flow on. Now, question mark of that, we'll try and bring new news on that as it comes up. And then, of course, institutions. Wolfgang, CEO, has been dealing with a lot of institutions over in Europe, and of course, talking about investing in Sun Minimal via Soul token. And of course, we could see an absolute explosion with that coming up. So, in particular, it would also, if that is successful, that'd be huge. But also, they're also dealing with uh, they're also dealing with Floin market. So Floin market is a niche market, crypto market over on in Europe, and of course they've got a phased approach to growing an ecosystem. They have a lot of high value clients in that list, and of course in their app on Floin, and something like 11,000, I think it was, that the Wolfgang said that they were on there. So that could potentially usher a whole rush of money into Soul token and therefore onto PulseChain. And of course, we know they're using the ramp now methodology. Well, basically, ramp now uses the official bridge, and they bridge over USDC as liquidity before they do their settlements. And so they've always got the money there to settle you for your live trade, right? You want to do a trade, they'll settle that straight away. Now, the liquidity is all relative to the amount of transactions that limits that you can do. And of course, they at any particular time, and so they're transferring over tens of thousands. I think it's like $30,000, $35,000 US, maybe a couple times a day. So depending on volumes, but that's pretty impressive. And of course, that's all coming from Ethereum over to PulseChain, and so it's a capital flow onto PulseChain. So it's really special. And of course, this could just continue to ramp up. Eventually they might be doing $100,000 lots, etc. And you get the idea. So that's pretty huge. Now that could all play out. The other big thing that I didn't talk about here was Sun Minimal's growth. So Sun Minimal's growth, they are dealing with a number of potential large network or highly big firms, basically with the big networks across multiple countries in Europe that have a very large customer base. And just sealing the deal with any of those would be massive, right? So even if they got 5% of that customer base buying Sun Minimal, it would be massive consequence. So that is really bullish in the future, and so that's some of the substantiation of how they might get to the Bitcoin value. And of course, there are 5 billion tokens on Sun Minimal, and of course, they have a lot of people that hold the tokens. So we have the sell side issue that's not going away, and of course, it's relatively new too. But if the actions follow the words, and if the growth is as good as the CEO hopes, then we've got really a big giant unicorn corporate on PulseChain, and we could see some pretty amazing things. Now, obviously, we're going to have to check in on this on a regular basis to see how that's playing, but that could be massive, right? So what else? If you've got money starting to come, right, starting to flow, you also need a lot of ways of getting money back onto PulseChain and, of course, off-chain, because you need something that's fluid. That's the best sort of dynamics. And we've got 23 bridges at the moment and counting. So we'll probably get more bridges, coming online over the in the future as we move into the bull market. But we've got 23 pretty much confirmed bridges. Some of them are using a few referral codes, but most of them are genuine, their own setup. And of course, a lot of the money does go over the official bridge, but we do have on-chain to on-chain bridges and counting. So led by leading on-ramps and off-ramps, we are now getting set for the mega flows. So really, we didn't really have this, a year ago, and now we're really set up for this, just particularly in the last couple of months, which is pretty interesting timing, if you ask me. But we're led by leading on-ramps and off-ramps. We are getting set for the mega flows. And of course, that is all the different ones. You'll know all the names there. PulseChain Official Bridge, Ramp Now, Banksa, Sun Minimal. We've got new ones apparently. I've got July here, but there was one that we're expecting in May, so I've just put it into July. It's more of just a fill in there. And then we're expecting one in September, which is Q3. This is all via Sun Minimal, and we'll see how that goes. And of course, this was all updated from Hex Scout, which is obviously doing front end for Ramp Now. We got with special fees. We got Pulse LN, of course, Change Now, Internet Money, Hex Scout, Portal X, Go Pulse, Token X, MCL, Gibbs Finance, Liberty Swap, Coast, Simple Swap, Nan Swap. So Simple Swap and Nan Swap are probably using ChangeNow's setup with a bit of a referral code. Stealth X there, Houdini Swap, Gas Zip, Block Blend, and Block Blend, I should say, Pulse Wallet, and of course Bitcoin Tree there as well. Pretty awesome. And also, just a special note about Pulse Wallet. They've also opened up margin trading as well. So that's pretty exciting to see that. So that's all leading capital onto PulseChain. Obviously, capital can go off PulseChain as well. So it's kind of the play there. Let's get down into the Genius Act, of course. That is coming up. And this could be absolutely ginormous for PulseChain. Not directly in particular, but indirectly. So let's talk about that. So we've got Genesis Act stablecoins boom. We've got the Golden Age of America, of course, which we've been talking about that with Trump's three-legged stool strategy, right? That is still not finished. But I think by the 1st of August, it will be pretty much done, right? So I think that's what I said. We've still got probably another month of volatility. And then interest rate cuts, right? Interest rate cuts, pressure is on. And of course, we get a bit more inflation data. It really is going to make Jerome Powell, have to capitulate. The market's already expecting that with long-term bond rates still coming down. So, the markets are generally pragmatic. So we'll see how that goes. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expects a multi-trillion-dollar boost. Now, we're talking about $2 trillion. We could have up to $3.8 trillion in stablecoins on crypto by 2030, right? Those are some of the numbers out there. Crypto with USDC and treasuries a boom. And of course, this supports the US dollar. This is not only great for crypto and of course the leverage that this would create, but it would also be it's a much better idea for freedom, because the alternative to this is a CBDC. Of course, no one wants that, right? Because that's just control, right? Bad people get to control you. We already saw that under the Biden administration, right? Bad people get to control you. They write letters to the social media, say, destroy any accounts to do this. Can't talk about this, all that sort of stuff. We saw that under the lockdowns and everything else, right? They're very quick to take power. You got to remember that a lot of them are full of narcissists and psychopaths and all sorts of things. There's a problem with politics. A lot of politics, we get a lot of bad people that rise to the top because they seek the power, they seek the thing, and you wonder why isn't this person? This person's amazing, intelligent. They're over in the corporate life. They do all this. Well, it's because they don't really probably have a narcissistic personality, right? They just want to have a family and get on with life. Where you got all the crazy psychos, socialists, and globalists, all got these horrible personalities and rising to power, and they'll lie to your face. They lie on the camera all the time to your face, saying the most ridiculous things in the world. But that's the kind of things that we're having to deal with, right? That's why Elon Musk is, he's trying to obviously set up his third party and trying to deal with that. Although I think his timing's not the best, because I think Trump's already done it really with what he's trying to talk about. So we got benefiting Ethereum and EVM chains. So we're going to get massive benefits here. All this stablecoin boom. It's all going to get circulating money moving around on Ethereum and EVM. Obviously, Ethereum benefiting because of Circle, right? USD Tether will also benefit, but Circle in particular there will be getting a huge boom in stablecoins, and it's all going to come through Ethereum. Ethereum will get re-rated and massive leverage up to the upside, and of course that will also affect the second layer chains, and of course forks like PulseChain should benefit as well. So very bullish about that. We got record M2 monetary supply already. If we get these interest rate cuts in September and December, they're pretty cool, and they might be actually even more accelerated, bigger cuts rather than just 25 basis points. Might be 50, 100 basis points. I have seen one of Trump's economists talking about even a quarter percent would be good, 25 basis points. But I think that it should be. I'm probably more like with Trump. Trump's talking about this 1-to-1 ratio, which has typically been a good rule of thumb. And that is, if inflation is 2.5, then why is the Fed rates 4.5? Shouldn't they be 2.5? And of course, we also saw the political moves last year, lowering rates into the election for Kamala. And of course, for no real good reason, we've got lower inflation now, and the rate cuts aren't happening. So, here we are in July, for goodness sake. So hopefully by September or December, we'll get a good push. And what does this mean? Lower interest rates. We already see oil prices coming down, right? So back in the mid-90s, I think a gallon of petrol in the United States would have been about $1.10 or something. Now, of course, I think it's $2.50, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe you guys can let me know if you're in America. I think it's about $2.50 for a gallon, and I think a gallon is 2.5 liters, something like that, something in that ballpark. So yeah, it's that's kind of where we're heading. It's we've got lower inflation, lower oil prices, lower petrol prices, And this is even with the declining US dollar, because he's got the oil prices down so much, and they're probably going to stay down, if not slightly lower even. We'll keep a lookout for that, because obviously US is looking to make a big oil boom in the next couple of years. And so, yeah, it could be huge. And of course, oil flows into 89% of all products in production. So in one way or another, so that's huge. So Trump's already winning on the physical goods market, and now he needs to, to some degree, he's already had a little bit of win with some of the interest rates, but he really needs to win big on the interest rates, right? Because obviously the federal debt's got to refinance trillions of debt, something like 7+ trillion of debt. And of course, that has to be refinanced, and then obviously want low interest rates for that, and so he's kind of holding off for that. And then of course, you've also got all the costs for everybody else, businesses, families paying mortgages. The lower the cost, especially if they're coming onto onto floating rates, the lower the cost, the better. And then of course, ultimately for investors, having low rates means that people have to take risk to get higher rates. And if they're going to take risks to get higher rates, where have to go? They have to go to the stock market, and they have to go to crypto. And that is the big winner there for crypto and for PulseChain, right, is to see that. So record money. So plenty of money slushing around. The golden age of America. The economy is booming. And we already saw straight out of the gate after the one big beautiful bill, we saw 7 big firms announce their capital moves, because now they can do 100% capital expensing within a year. That is a game changer. I cannot say that big enough. That is massive. It is massive. And we're probably going to see hundreds and hundreds of firms announce and start building big capital projects in the United States because of the expensing rule there in the one big beautiful bill. And that's going to unleash jobs, higher real wages, etc. It's going to be absolute boom. And of course, more money in the golden age of America. Just one of the key things there. So very excited about that. And of course, interest rate cuts will lower the costs and increase disposable income. And of course, more money for speculating on stocks and crypto. Going to be pretty cool. And of course, on top of that, we've also got this huge technological boom, happening in the world. We're basically entering the 4th industrial age with intelligence, and of course, with AI chips, convergence, with robotics and software, everything else. It's going to be truly amazing over the next few years. Very exciting to see that. And of course, an energy boom goes with that, right? Energy boom goes with that, potentially lowering electricity prices too across America, with all those new power systems being built out. In particular, micro nuclear is going to be a big deal moving forward over the next couple of years, supporting AI production and some of these big AI, building chip plants that they're building at the moment. So those are pretty exciting. So yeah, look forward to that. And then of course we get to, I guess, the main event. We get to Richard Hart, Freedom, Crypto and Glory, or Crypto, Freedom and Glory. That's probably the way I should have wrote it, but that's the way we go. Freedom, Crypto and Glory. It seems there could be only a few weeks to a month before PulseChain. So why a month? Why a month? Well, because we've still got the trade deal volatility, right? After the first, Trump is putting pressure on some of the last big economies, that is South Korea and Japan, to pressure them to do deals. He's obviously been sending letters out to a lot of trading countries the last day or two, but these countries don't have a lot of influence, right? So he's really targeting those top 10 in particular, top 15 countries to put pressure. We've already got a deal with the UK, with China, and of course with Vietnam. And so we could see a lot more deals being done. So that's why we've still got a little bit more volatility to go. We're hoping that the 7th and the 9th, we're going to be, a lot less volatility. But that's still in the market. The markets will still be responding to that a little bit until the 1st of August. And then it's pretty much going to be a done deal, I think, by that time. Trump will have laid the foundation of the golden age of America there with his 3-stall strategy, with the taxes and tariffs. He's already got the first one over the line. Tariffs will be finished probably by end of August, all going well. And, it took a little bit longer than his 90 deals in 90 days, but not too much longer, a couple of weeks. And then, of course, then we'll have regulations. We've got more regulations coming through mid-July. We've got the crypto week, right, with the Genesis Act and the Clarity Act and the non-CBDC Act. So that's going to benefit, obviously, stablecoins, boom, for crypto, also for the US dollar. And he's also going to be tariffing BRICS countries. So those countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and those countries that were trying to undermine the US reserve dollar, they will get penalized for that. And so he's shutting that down too, which is great. So reserve dollar needs to remain with the US. You certainly don't want it to move to an authoritarian communist state. There are people in the West that are, on the left particularly, jumping up and down about that. Is a disaster. You've got to understand that when people go missing, they go missing in those countries. It's for good reasons, right? We don't need that in the West. So fingers crossed. So yeah, it seems more that it could be a few weeks to a month before PulseChain. We've also got some nice action on the chart there as well. We're free from the SEC. So there's a lot of good things potentially happening. Now, we've still got volatility on the bridge. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So that will move us from, we've got a low base in the price, so we could really start to rally, right? Steal it, rally from that. And so the low base is obviously here, and it's not quite over yet. We've still got at least 3 or 4 weeks, I would say, ahead of us. This excludes any God mode candle, which may wait as well for a couple of weeks in any case. So that is where we are there. Let me just scroll down a bit further. So yeah, Richard has many options to open him up for public glory. Now, why do I still stay on the public glory train? Because Richard has been communicating all year, particularly since January, since he did his video, and he's been doing a lot of very positive things. First of all, he did many moves around PulseChain, setting it up for the run ahead with thinning out liquidity, the PulseX farms, and incentive token, all that good stuff, launching pump tires and a lot of cool things there, trying to, shout down the PDI maker floor and Mr. Dong, all these things. Which has been out there recently. He's been out switching from that, dealing with the problems, and even talking about PulseChain people being the dumpers, all that sort of stuff, trying to get that to market. And then, of course, moving forward, he started to look on a forward front, right? So he started talking about marketing and millions of electronic devices hitting the US and other countries. So getting all those devices out there to start the marketing and get people on board to PulseChain. And of course, also more recently started talking about, printer labels for those. And then yesterday talking about, PulseChain website. We're going to get it up to scratch. It's lost its way. It needs to really be doing the right things to attract people. If we're going to have all these people come, we need PulseChain website to look good. So that was a big thing yesterday. So Richard is now dealing with the problems, but like Trump is in the first 6 months, and now is looking forward to the golden age of PulseChain, and is moving on to the website and all those sort of good things. And of course, now he's free essentially from the SEC. He's still got the Interpol thing, but I'm sure his lawyers are dealing with that. Rackham Michelle's definitely indicated that through his back connections, and so we could get some good stuff happening there. But anyway, not financial advice, but perhaps his crypto empire, owned or otherwise, lol, is much bigger than most people think. Maybe it's much bigger than I think. Maybe it's much bigger than you think, or maybe it's much smaller than we think. I don't know, but it's definitely pretty big, and so we're going to talk about that. So this is the bull case that we're going to go through. I actually had a whole ton of numbers in here, but I pulled out the numbers just because I don't know exactly what the numbers are. I have a good indication of what they might be under a certain scenario, but that's kind of where it is there. I thought I'd just pull the numbers on here. We got Bitcoin, a whale, plus Ethereum, plus forks. So obviously he was consistent in all his videos in Q1 2011. And so if you watch all his videos since he's been streaming with his top hat, he's been always consistent about Q1 2011 being when he was mining. He got into it on Reddit and all the back channels there, and followed the guy with the template on how to do a lot of mining with your graphics cards and his setup there. And so he did all that sort of stuff, right? And for my account, that's probably about February 2011 that he was doing that. Now, obviously, similar around that time, we talked about this yesterday. Obviously, we had other people around that time, Roger Ver. We had Ross Ulrich, of course, from who just recently got out of prison. So we had all those people out around there as well. They were mining a lot and probably got a ton of Bitcoin as well. So these are the kind of players that we could have. Now, Richard does have the personality to not sell as well. So he's probably a good chance that he's kept a lot of that, arguably. And then, of course, in 2016, he also talked about on YouTube that he had been mining Ethereum in 2016. And therefore, he's probably a good chance that he's one of the big whales in Bitcoin, and possibly, pretty good bags in Ethereum. And of course, he would benefit from all the forks, right? The fork wars, as we call them. 2017, 18, moving forward, we had the fork wars around particularly Bitcoin block sizes and all those sort of things. And so we had Bitcoin Cash and other forks there. So he could potentially big whales on any of these ETH and Bitcoin forks that we had, right? So that is pretty huge. And he could potentially be on the rich list of all these, which means that if you add up all that income, I don't know, it could be something pretty silly. the amount of money that he could actually hold or control. So it's pretty huge. But not only that, he also holds, controls, influences. You decide, but he has all the ETH money from AA lobby. Now, obviously, the first day of the AA lobby, there was I think 21,000 Ethereum came in there. And then we had hundreds of Ethereum going every other day. Now, there was some cycling going on eventually. I think I'm trying to remember when it started. I think maybe March was it when it started, something like that, in the AA lobby, but which normalized prices right to the market. But we that still had a ton of ETH going in there, right? So potentially, I don't know, could have potentially had maybe 1 million, 2 million ETH in there. You can decide. But it's pretty. I've seen different numbers, so you can decide which ones you think you can do estimates of. But it certainly had a lot of ETH going over 351 days, right? And I've seen numbers of 130 million back in the day. I mean, there's all different, different timestamp prices. So it's you can the amount of ETH is what you actually care about. And of course, that went all into the flush address, right, of the AA lobby. And of course, then we have obviously the PulseChain sacrifice, of course, and of course we had PulseChain and PulseX and all the money that went through there. So that was pretty huge, about 1.1 billion, I think, all up, including all the stable coins that were turned into DAI and then turned into Ethereum. And then, of course, we also had all the Hex that went in there, right? So, but at the moment, that sacrifice project has been another move that's bullish about Richard, for glory and for altruism, is he talked about getting that on the Ethereum strategic reserve, and he was one instigated that, and now it's on there as the PulseChain SAC. We like to call it the PulseChain Strategic Reserve, and that is sitting at number 3 on the rich list there. That ETH holds about 1% of all ETH in that strategic reserve, and because there's about 120 million ETH, right, and a lot of it's sitting in the big DeFi protocols, as we've talked about before. So $435 million at the moment, and of course that could quickly turn back into 635, which is what it was, 645 something. And all we need is a bit of a pump, 45-50% pump, and we'll be back up at the sacrifice break-even price. And then, of course, Thor's hammer. So, I don't know if anyone worked out what Thor's hammer is, but you can swap basically Thorium. I think it is. You can swap BTC to ETH in large volumes, and that could potentially be Thor's hammer and go over the bridge. And who knows what they could do? Could back up DeFi protocols and like Wrap Bitcoin or anything like that. There's lots of possibilities. But let's not forget all the OA sacrifice. Of course, 90+% of the holdings, some maybe up to 95% or more of some of the holdings. Remember, PulseX has been burning off as well. I think my memory back in the day that PulseX was the OA was sitting at about 84, 86%, somewhere in that ballpark. But with the PulseX buy and burn now at 7.35. That holding's definitely gone up a lot, so probably 90% plus there. Of Pulse and PulseX, and of course Hex. Also, he was in control with his team of the AMM, the automatic market maker bot, at the beginning of PulseChain, and of course that was swapping out the coins, and he was getting a lot of all the good coins out there. And of course, he obviously had all the fork coins, getting a copy of that through that process. And then of course, protocol, he's also got potentially access to all these protocols that we've got, like Maker, Compound, and Balancer. We see a lot of theories going around at the moment around Compound after PDI. Maker was mostly shut down, as we say. And then we've got Compound with the governors, all that theory going out there for 99's Capital and PDI. And of course, Balancer as well is out there too. So it'd be interesting to see how much of that can be pulled up. Obviously, with oracles, if any of them got oracles, then that would be an issue. So he's got options there, and of course he could also bring us something new to PulseChain, right? So new stuff. He could bring a new protocol. He could bring in. He could have a custom protocol too. Maybe uses it with Wrap Bitcoin or anything else he's potentially got. Obviously, he's not going to move his own Bitcoin. He's not going to put his own Bitcoin at risk, but he could use it potentially as a locking mechanism. And then all you need is market psychology and capital to flow, and you get some sort of parity there, 1-to-1 with P-Wrap Bitcoin and Wrap Bitcoin. There's just ideas like that out there. And of course, we got he's talked about the wallet recently in this year, forking a wallet, getting a good wallet, and of course, stable coins in the past. And of course, he's got many other things that were on his roadmap in the past as well, potentially could emerge. So the Magic Carpet ride, it could play out, could be more spectacular than we even thought there. And so, yeah, at the moment, that is where the Magic Carp ride balances at the moment. But man, it could really just rise up pretty bigly there. But as you guys know, I've always talked about the Magic Carp ride on the Magic Carp ride on the Magic Carp ride. And the way I see that is potentially we've got Richard Hart and the Magic Carp ride that could be way bigger than people think potentially. It obviously will depend on Richard's altruism as well. So if that continues, we've seen a lot of good moves in that direction, and of course a pursuit of glory in that play. And of course, we've also talked about the fact we've got Sun Minimal that could also be a Magic Carpet ride if that delivers all the expectations what we're seeing there. And you can find out more details about that in Strategy Club that I have not talked about on live stream. So get into that. And then, of course, on the back of Trump's economy, we could have a boom, an economic boom, which I think we're going to see like we've never seen before. Everything is lined up for it. Trump is going to be leveraging the U.S. balance sheet and the assets that they have, as well as the income statement as well. So it's going to be mind-boggling how big that will be. And of course, with the monetary supply and the straight cuts, this could be mega huge. We've had more of the technical, the technical things that we need, like all these bridges launched to allow the money to flow in and off PulseChain. I'm sure that's going to continue to mature and expand. We certainly know that Liberty Swap there has been doing some really good stuff and continue to get multiple chains there at a rapid pace. So things are all heading in the right direction there for sure. So pretty cool stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I say, if you haven't joined up the Strategy Club there, the link's in the video description. But if you want to get more good stuff there, that is the place to be. Oh, we got Wookie in here already. Let's see who else has jumped in there. We got Jenna and Husty. Great update, Superman. We'll share that with others. I appreciate that, Jenny. Thank you very much. I don't even know if I posted that link in there, did I? Let me post the link to this post if you guys want to share it around. Share PulseChain update, I guess we might call it PulseChain update. But I thought that was good to get a bit of a review of PulseChain where it's at from my perspective at least, and see you guys can share that around and leave your comments as well. Jump there, so kind of cool. Yeah, there's Wookie's strategy link. You can use that, or you can go straight to the strategy store. Bam. What else we got going on there? That is the PulseChain update we just read through. So share it around. Leave your comments and all that good stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to the channels on YouTube or on X, give us a follow. It really does help a lot with the algorithms. And the more we can people we can reach, more potentially your pump bags will pump. That's the old line, isn't it? All right, so kind of cool. That is it, I think, on that one. I think that was the big update I did yesterday. So you can see that at the top. It's pinned at the top there. What else we got going? Actually, I might repost it myself. Should I do that? I'll repost it myself. PulseChain big review market. We just did that, and so forth. Yep, kind of cool. We've got lots of good projects on the monster thread this round. Monster number 9. Kind of cool. Yeah, cool projects. So we're going to talk more about that. All right, so that is kind of cool. Let me jump over to the markets. Before we do that, though, I want to just switch things around a little bit. Get into the chat there if you've got any comments about anything I've said. Do that. Get in the comments, but I'm just going to reset some stuff here. A bit out of order. So let me put that over there. And we're going to jump over here. Bam. And get into the market update today. Let me go find that. I'm a little behind today. Let's see here. Looks like I might have. We'll get out of there too. Bam. Go into that, and we're going to close that down. And pull that up. Bam. I think we're looking good now. Yep. Looking good. All right, so let's get into it. Where are we going? Full screen again? We're going full screen now. We'll go small screen, and then we'll go big screen. All right, so let's get into it. So here we are. We've got the stock market. And why do we look at the stock market? Because so that we're not ignorant of the markets, right? Because these are obviously cross-related to the crypto, and it's important to keep a track of what generally is going on. We don't deep dive. We don't go down into all the indexes and all that sort of stuff. But we just want to have an idea of what's going on so that we're relatively informed. So we've got Dow Jones is down 0.4%, 165 points to 44,240. Now, remember, Dow Jones is the top 30 industrials, so it gives us a good idea of I guess, the Beltway. And let's have a look over the last year on the chart here. We've got a little mini chart. And we can see that we're not at the top here. We haven't been to the top yet. But I suggest to you this is going to probably, I know under Trump's era, this could probably go to 60, 70,000. We're at 44. I know it's a huge number, but I just think we're going to get some ridiculous things happening in Trump's America. The CBDO, the budget office in the United States, which is probably, they've been wrong all the time. They obviously are discounting for the tariffs. On one hand, they're saying, "Oh, you're going to make 2.8 trillion in tariffs," but we don't include that in the budget. So we're going to basically say that you're going to make more debt, or something like $4 trillion of debt, extra debt, or something. And so, but of course, if Trump it doesn't do 1.8%, but actually does like 3 or 4%, which is unbelievable. He certainly showed signs of doing that in the last presidency. Then that's going to be mute point. You're going to make trillions in extra revenue, and everything's going to be good. And the U.S. economy is going to absolutely boom at 3 or 4%, unbelievably boom. We see China on the decline at the moment. All right, so they'll be lucky if China's making 1 or 2%. They're probably even in the negative. The prices in China have showed bad results over the last sort of 4 to 6 months. That is America's only going to get bigger and bigger. So the gap between China and America is actually going to break apart. Remember when liberals and progressives used to say, "Oh, America's in decline and China's going to be a rise and a superpower," and then we're handing all these overpowers? Well, that was all nonsense, right? That was complete. That's what I'm talking about. I used to listen to them for decades, looking on screen since the 90s, and I was just like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And they were just ridiculous. Now, obviously, China had a relatively low base to build off in the early years, so they were going to have particularly high rates. But once the economy starts to mature, it's a real problem. And here's one thing that China didn't do, right? They didn't move the economy to a consumer economy. They kept it centrally planned, right? So they are still more of a service economy. They didn't move it to a consumer economy. And they did that in particular because it allows them to control more, right? Because if you have a consumer economy, then you've got consumers that have a lot more sway on the economy, right? But if you're centrally planned and you avoid that, then that is a big power play. So that's something that they've done. S&P 500 at the moment is down 4 points, so pretty much flat. It's just down slightly, 6,225, and that's recently come off its high as well. So just come off its high. I think it's 6,280. So just down from there, 60 points, say. And then we've got the Nasdaq with all the tech companies, and this is where we're getting the fourth industrial age, right? Which now we've talked about this since the 80s. We were talking about robots and all this sort of stuff coming. Robots going to come and you won't have to work and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, we've been hearing it since the 80s, back when we had Commodore 64s and Spectrum computers. So it's like pretty crazy. In fact, it's funny you say, or funny I say Commodores, because there's a guy online, I think came out yesterday, and they're talking about, I think, buying the Commodore brand. I don't know how successful they are. I didn't watch the whole video, but they're talking about getting the Commodore brand up. So you might see that back go viral. Let's see. Let me know in the chat if you ever owned a Commodore 64 or something like that, particularly those that are in the older generation, or maybe you picked one up from someone older, stuff like that. I got some stories around that. They're pretty funny. We got Nasdaq at the moment was actually up slightly, so not much, but 6 points to 20,418. So we're expecting some big things there for the Nasdaq. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it could get 30,000 in the index. It's 20,400 now. 30,000, 35. I mean, I don't know what's a 3-4% economy in America going to do for the stock market over the next couple of years. Could be ginormous, right? Could be absolutely ginormous. So we could have the mega run. Now, obviously, there's a question mark after Trump. After Trump, what happens? And so that's another story for another day. We won't talk about that, but let's leave that at the moment. We're certainly hyper bullish about the U.S. economy, and of course, what he's going to do for us in the West. He is the last man standing. I cannot say it enough. He's the last man standing to stop evil and psychopaths running and destroying the West. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You got off to a bad start, CB says. Well, yeah. We got Hex Vader in house there. Hey. Good to see Hex Vader. All right, so that's pretty much it at the moment. What else we're going to? Yeah, Trump's on Monday. Trump sent 14 letters out, including major Asian trading partners such as Japan and South Korea, saying they face sharp higher tariffs on imports into the United States starting from the new date of August the 1st. So Trump putting more pressure to get the deals done, right? Because obviously, from Trump's point of view, and I would probably agree with them on the most part, they had had it good for so long, and now it's time to rebalance. So there we go. US President said trade talks have been going well with the European Union and China, but added he was only days away from sending a tariff letter to the EU. So still a bit more pressure there. And obviously, Ursula over in Europe there is under, what is he, under some sort of indictment or something. Get rid of her. Of course, it's a whole setup right over there. It's so corrupt in the European Union. European Union is utterly corrupt. It's horrendous. US stock investors are kind of on hold until we start seeing the second quarter earnings. So that's from the US point of view. So we have got earnings season coming up. This is the calm before the storm, he says. So that's his point of view. What else we got in there that's pretty interesting? The US has 2 agreements already with a free trade, Britain and Vietnam. So that's cool. And China has already agreed a framework. So that's a pretty accurate summary there. Of course, the Fed meeting is coming up in July. Fed meeting released on Wednesday. So that's coming up on Wednesday. That would be interesting for the markets. We could see some, typically they're on a wait and see approach. But of course, I see that as pretty much as politicking for the Democrats. And of course, we'll see with the interest rate cuts. The market's already putting pressure on interest rate cuts with the bond market. So we'll see how that all plays out by the time we get to August for September. But we do have a Fed meeting at the end of July on, I think, the 30th. So it'll be pretty interesting. Let's go have a quick look at the tool monitor there. And we'll go have a look at the rate monitor, see what the market's thinking at the moment on around interest rates. So, 3 weeks to go until the meeting there on the 30th of July. And what's the market saying? So we've got 6.44% of the market expecting a 25% rate cut. Of course, there's no real rate cut going to happen in July. So it's not the kind of meeting they're holding. Then September, we've got now majority of the market expecting a rate cut. 59% of the market expecting a rate cut in September the 17th. So put that in your calendars. But that is coming up. And we've got 3.8% expecting a 50 basis point cut. I certainly think a minimum would be a 50 basis point cut. Let's see how they go there. So, that's kind of play. What's the next meeting? October. Obviously, we've got rate cuts potentially there, but December is the next one that people are expecting. And we're expecting, we've got even some of the market expecting to have another 25, which get us down to 3.5 to 7.5, which would be 0.75%. Right, 75 basis point, 0.75% by December. But I think it could possibly be even more aggressive than that if they were playing a fair game. And of course, depending on what inflation's coming up in the future, right? So that is the other big thing. Let's have a look quickly for. I think we're just going to leave it there. I will pick up. We're going to pull up the inflation news coming up on another day. Should we do that? Hexavada's in the house. Hey. Good to see Hexavada. We've got Wookie with the rollerblades. I was at the farming, Wookie's farming on PulseChain. China's Evergrande group is up a creek, says Hexavada. You're talking about, is that with TikTok? All right, so let's jump away here to that. So that's pretty much it. Let's go into crypto and talk about that. So we might change screen. Actually, we're going to change screen. Should we go to that one? Yeah, I'm a bit bigger there. So we've got the total market cap of crypto at 3.44 trillion, down 2.3%. That is based on 17,593 coins. But Bitcoin is actually up 0.9%. And we're at 108,954. We got Ethereum there up 3.3% at 2,615. And we got XRP up 2.3% at $2.31. BNB at number 5, up 0.2%, $660. Solana at number 6, up 2% at $152. We got Tron at number 8, up 0.4% at 28.7 cents. Doge there at number 9, up 2.3% at 17 cents. And of course, Lido sitting there at number 10. That is our top ones. So I did talk about Pulse Wallet earlier. Hyperliquid is the margin trading they're allowing within their wallet, which I thought was a cool little addition there. So we do have that available. I talked about, Famous and, of course, Nexian Glow coming up, but Hyperliquid through the Pulse Wallet, you can actually do margin trading on there too. So I should probably put that in my update, but that is something, a little niche thing there. Kind of cool. Now, overall, the last week, best performer last 24 hours has been Ethereum, up 3.3%. And the best performer over the last week has also been Ethereum, up at 8.7%. So that's pretty good for Ethereum. And Lido, of course, up as well. Lido is obviously holding a lot of the I'll just repeat myself, holding a lot of the ETH in there, right? So I think it's 7% or something like that. Maybe a bit more. We got top coins in the top 100. So look at that. We got Bonk again leading the way, 61.7%, number 63, and of course with the market cap of 1.7 billion, this could outperform other top tier meme coins, right? Bonk, because the market cap's down low. It's been moving quite nicely. So that'd be interesting to see. Some of the top, the lower end of the top 100 meme coins doing better in terms of X gains, right? Doing more X's. So that is up 61% for the week at 1.7 billion. SBX 6900 has been doing very well also, up 28%. And then Kronos at number 3, it's ranked at number 48 at the moment. That is up 21%. Celestia at 85 is up 18.6%. And Stellar XLM is up 15% as well. Those are kind of our top 5 at the moment. But you can see, not far behind is Aave, Hedra, and Uniswap, Pepe, and they're all over 10%. And then we've got Near Protocol as well. So this is kind of the top 10. Looking at the top 1,000, we've got AMO coin up 38%, Treasury up 42%, and Taurus up 25%, all trending at the moment. So AMO coin sitting at number 797. Had a big pump. Look at that out of nowhere from 0007, and it's now at 1,800 of a penny. So that is up pretty much 160% in the last 7 days. So how long's it been around? Since July last year. And that is on a run there. I think not bad. I think we saw this yesterday, actually. I think it was still running from yesterday, but that is pretty cool. Let's see. Let's jump away from there. And we've also got Treasure. It's up 39%. Let's have a look at this one. It's sitting at number 682. It's actually down 65% on what it was, whatever 1 year, but we've got the yearly there. Have I still got the yearly in there? Let me go 24 hours. I wonder I had some weird yields on there. But we've definitely got 12 cents at the bottom, and then we're up at 16 cents at the moment. So we've been racing along here. It only launched on the 8th of July. So what am I talking about? I've got the day. Sorry, I'm really messing up today. But we've got the market. It's been around since October, September 21. So the last bull market near the top, and it has come down. So yeah, it was benefiting probably from the back end of the last bull market, and it's pretty much been down, not doing too much at the moment, but apparently it's up today as well. So what was it, up to 42% today? Magic is the native token of Treasure. There we go. Let's have a quick look at the website. We're embarking on a new adventure. So it looks like got some cool little games or something here. There's Treasure, let me know. Play, build, evolve, all with Magic. And they've got their old marketplace as well and products. So there we go. They've got Treasure AI. So maybe that's what's maybe getting a bit exciting there. So that is interesting. Now, the only reason why we're looking at these, because some of them may have potential for mad gains if they've got some good ideas and good momentum. Banana for Scale just popped in there and took over the place number 3. But that's up 28%. That replaced the other one that was there. It's 291. That's actually pretty high on the coin index. 134% at 1.9 cents. It's a meme coin there, Banana at Scale. And I think we saw this the other day, didn't we? But it's on BNB. It's only been around since November last year, and recently taken off since 25th of June. It was at 5,500 a penny, now at 1.9 cents. So not too bad there for the old banana meme. 291. Maybe it's going to continue and end up into the top 200, top 300. Could be some big X's potentially in there. Once again, speculative, right? Speculative. But it is in the top 300 now. Making it a bit better, but it can move in and out of that. That's not force us, but definitely that's interesting. Taurus and Bitcoin and Toncoin are both the ones trending. Bitcoin was in here earlier in the week, about a week ago. It's back in there, and of course, Telegram Toncoin has been trending a lot lately. It's UAE deal with the 10-year residency, I think it was. It didn't seem to do much to the market, but it was a pretty good bullish move there too. All right, so that is pretty much there on the crypto markets. So yeah, down 2.4%, 3.4 trillion. Bitcoin at 109,000 pretty much. So looking very good on the old Bitcoin. And you can take a bullish view and a bearish view on that. I take it as very bullish. It's been holding over 100K. And I think once we get through, the month of month of July, we will get through hopefully the tariffs by the 1st of August, and then game on, ramping into that September period. There are definitely some bearish scenarios for August, September that I've seen, but I tend to think that we're going to be moving into an ultra bullish period of the market. All right, so that is the play there. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. In particular, this is our roadmap of Trump's strategy, the golden age of America. Obviously, we had the big tax bill back on the 4th of July. We've just had all these letters come out over the last couple of days. 14 letters go out, of course, pushing the tariffs up on the 1st of August. People will, deals will probably be done in that time. So, and then, we probably won't have any extension after that unless someone comes begging. So people have got to go begging first and get access to the United States economy, right? So Trump has put a premium on there. Then, of course, coming up on the 15th in the we just had the SEC, of course, expire technically, and of course that means PulseChain is free. And of course, we've got 15th of July. We've got the Crypto Bitcoin Week, right? So we've got the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and of course the non-CBDC. And that's going to be bullish around stablecoin boom. That's going to be bullish for the US dollar, going to be bullish for US treasuries, going to be bullish for the Clarity Act, will be bullish for regulations and custodial relations. And then, of course, non-CBDC there is going to be particularly bullish for freedom, really, and decentralization. So looking pretty good as the old crypto week coming up mid-July. It'll be interesting to see how the crypto moves on that news. And that's pretty much it on that one. Then, of course, we've got interest rate September. We're going to get more crypto reports and stuff like that in September, October, and potentially more regulations that are going to support crypto. And all during that time, we're going to have Trump's third strategy. So if the deals on trade deals are done by August, that puts us a little timeline. Let's put another little arrow here for August. That would be here. The end of the trade deal are pretty much done by there. We will then have the only thing really going on would be deregulation and regulations that support growth. And of course, more around leverage and small to medium banks in the United States to support manufacturing and construction. Of course, especially with financing these 100% expensing projects that are going to be coming up from now on. So boom, 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 the golden age of America. It's going to be pretty cool. And record money and lower interest rates. Game on, game on. That's all we can say. We've got the perfect alignment, man. You can't ask for a better alignment than what we're getting. This is pretty much the holy grail leading into the bull market as well, which is just, everything is just mind-blowing. Got to have patience, pick up the good quality stuff, and then game on from there. All right, we're going to jump back and get into PulseChain now. It took us a while to get there, but we start off with PulseChain. We're going to get back to PulseChain. How we're doing for time? An hour and 26 minutes. I did not think that. I thought I'd been talking for like 20 minutes. But no, I'm just going to. No, it was starting to get long, but we're going to race through PulseChain market results. I don't know what Wookie's talking about, but we're going to get into that. Let's go straight into it. Pulse at the moment, day 789 since PulseChain launched on 13th of May 2023. And we've got Pulse at the moment, quadruple 0268, up 5%, sitting at 27% of the main sacrifice price. PulseX at the moment, quadruple 0198, 2.83%. That is buy and burn at 7.36%. And we've got Ink token there up 1%, $1.47. And of course, we've got Hex there at 5600th of a penny, down 6%. EHEX at 1800th of a penny as well. Combined price of EHEX and PX at 7300th of a penny. So just underneath 3/4 of a cent. Let's have a look at the stats. We've got the gas prices. Less than a million beats. So pretty good value to do PulseX swap, only 9/10 of a cent. And of course, the validators pretty much stable. We've had that for about 3 days in a row, 52,000. And of course, the bridge is the one we've been looking at. This is one of our key indicators for the sentiment and direction of PulseChain. And we're sitting at $83.9 million. I think that was pretty similar to what we had yesterday. ETH, though, has moved into number one spot. Whoa. ETH has moved to number one spot, which means we've had something happen with the old DAI. So let's have a quick look at that. I'm just looking at this live. We've moved. That matches what we've seen with the bridge overnight. So the bridge news overnight's not the greatest. So we're going to get to it in a minute. But ETH was sitting at 6,743 back on the 3rd. And now we're about 6 days later. And ETH is sitting at 6,991. We're almost back at 7,000. So ETH is up, thank goodness. So that's up, about 250 ETH. But DAI is down from 17.6 million to 17.25 million. So we definitely lost quite a bit there. Maybe 400, just under 400,000 dollars worth of DAI has gone out, and a lot of that I think happened overnight, to be honest. So USDC USDC was 14.25, went out 14.6, so we've made up good money there. So interesting enough, USDC up quite a bit. Yeah, well, let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, so USDC there is was 14 and a quarter. We're now at 14.6, so we're up 350,000 on USDC, so it's nice. And then of course Coast there is up 200k from 6 days ago, and USD Tether is up about $60,000 on USD Tether, and Bitcoin is down slightly. We were at 27, but it's just gone down slightly. Now it's rounding on Bitcoin, so it's always hard to tell, but we're down about 50 grand on Bitcoin just as a dollar price. So that is where we are on there. But let's have a look at the bridge. The bridge has been updated to about an hour ago. It's probably there's 2 hours have happened since this. But you can see the bridge. We're all down at 4.7 million on the old Iran, and of course all the whales selling. And then of course we had we recovered somewhat to 2.2 million down. That's negative. But then we've been slowly creeping down and came down quite far to 7.8. And then overnight, you can see we had quite a lot of big candles going out. So over the last couple of days, the last 2 days have been, we had $550 million go out. We had $434 million go out. And just overnight, we had 530. And then we had, yesterday we had 530. And then we had over early in the morning, we had 321. So we had some big red candles going out on the hourly. We did have some, modestly decent incomings over the same period, 220, 213, and then over the night we had 294 and 173, sort of tampering down all that capital leaving. So we have risen slightly. We're currently down about 3.5 million over this period from the 9th of June to the 8th of July. So essentially, what's it, about a month, is it? That is where we are over the last month, pretty much. So yeah, we're not out of the woods yet, but we're looking for that capital reversal, and we want to go positive, right? So we're in negative territory. We want to go positive. These are all timestamp values, so they don't move around with they're based on the time of the hour that they came in. They don't move around with the market prices. Just note that, but it does give us a good sense of what happens. And of course the trend, right? Gives us a good sense of the trend, although at different prices. So just take note of that. It does have some influence depending how dramatic the price influences are. But in any case, those are the numbers that we've had over the last 24, 48 hours, and dragged us down a little bit there. So we'll keep looking at this as a general signal of the momentum in the chain. Obviously, capital flowing in and out, a very key measure there of where it's going. So it gives a little Blue's Clues of things. Obviously, market can still move with stablecoins. We've got all the stablecoins we talked about that haven't been, they're sitting in people's wallets. They can be used at any time to push the market up, right? Assuming they're not sitting in DeFi protocols and things. So that is very important. All right. So that is where we are. And of course, let's have a look at the market overall. 22.4 million in volume. We've got some movers here. Bitcoin, pump tires Bitcoin, up 78%. Nice little move there. 0.0022. USDC also pump tires up 55%. USD Tether pump tires also on the move. So someone's been pumping those overnight. You guys can decide who's doing it. But that's up 54%. DAI token pump tires also on the move. So all the stable coins and Bitcoin up 29% there. Pump tires. Teddy Bear takeover that is up 25% as well. Been around for 3 months. Coming off the bottom, right? So that's continued. A real nice move off the bottom there. So let's have a quick look at that. Off the move, off the bottom, had a pretty aggressive rally and a pretty aggressive, super aggressive sell-off, and then it's moving back up pretty aggressively as well. So back at a quarter of a penny almost. Gas money from OG WebChef up 10%. Actually, let's quickly go to this Bitcoin at the top there. We'll have a quick look at that. Let's give an idea. So they're a little pump off the bottom. There's a weekly candles, by the way. It's a little pump off the bottom there. 0001. So nice little move there. Looks like they were all pretty much moved, weren't they? USDC pump tires moved off the bottom there too the last 2 weeks. So and so forth. So I thought better scroll back there. Time dividend up 7.6%. So not bad there. PUSD the Greys, obviously one of our magnificent 7, right? PUSD the Greys. So PUSD Greys, yeah. Magnificent 7. I can't remember now. I forgot my magnificent 7. That was SolidX. I can't remember. I've forgotten. 6.3%. We've got the MoonX at the moment up 5% as well. Finvestor, OG WebChef up 5%. Your Mum up 5%. UpX 5%. Loan Token up 5% there. Secret Conspiracy up 4%. PulseX, of course, on the move there. 9mm 3.3%. Our DEX, our second biggest DEX. What else there? So the DEX is on the move, in the top 25, aren't they? DEX peers. What else? There's lots of Pulse XPs, so is what it is. What else? We've got PMX 500 at number 31, up 2.5%. So we've got a few little moves there. Pump Tires, Beast up 2%, and our top 35. Solid X there, $8.51. That's what we potentially could get some big news coming soon for that. So just take note of that. Up 1.5%. Stake ETH at 1.3%. Missile from OG Web Chef up 1%. G Baby there related to James and Maria, and that is up 1% as well. Lady Gaga up at number 46, up a little bit there as well. So we've got a few little grit gainers there. Many of the ones we talked about, 9-inch Ink Dollar. Gophers, the 404 contract from Dirk Catcher, the first one that we had. That's up a little bit as well. Only $108 now. I'll pick up those. So, interesting. Those are kind of our top 55. So we've got 59 that are green, including X and Phoenix that are slightly green. Everything else is slightly red, including Sun Mini Mill, down just slightly. We didn't see any corporate buy and burn yesterday on Sun Mini Mill, which is pretty interesting given that we're in a weekday. So we'll try and keep a look at the patterns of those buy and burns. They are manual, but they've now directed through ramp now. So we're going to keep a tab on those when those actually will come in. Very, very interesting. And then everything else is pretty much down at the moment. Sparta and Hex are down the most on the list here on the top 100. So that's pretty much it. Woohoo! What a show. What was as long as that? It was an hour and 35 minutes. We're crazy here on PulseChain, but hey, look, we love it. So why not? Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And of course, we talked a lot of things. We've got the monster thread out at the moment. So all the latest hot news from the Kryptonite Show team. And of course, that is out there. So definitely check that out. Out and about, PulseChain hottest things. Man, we've got so many different cool things in there. So definitely check that out. Obviously, did the PulseChain update that we just read through at the beginning of the live stream. Check that out as well. Share it around. And cool things happening. We've got more stuff coming from the Kryptonite Show team. So stay tuned for all that. We've got the next week is going to have RH Max has got his conference on. Was it called PulseX Conference or PulseChain Conference? One of the two, PulseX Conference or something like that. That is coming up. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. I will be on day 2 talking about Monster Thread on there. So that'll be fun. But yeah, lots more stuff coming from the team. Very, very cool indeed. Crypto League out there. Don't sleep on this chain. Pulse will blow everyone's mind as RH claims his father glorious status. Yeah, absolutely. And Crypto League, absolutely. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Take care, everybody, and I'll play out Raoul Paul on the way in. And we may even hear from Richard Hart. Just talk about where we are in the market cycle. All right, take care. Bye for now.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing each cycle. It's not to do with a halving cycle. Nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone. Banana number 1. The corrective zone. Banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020. 2021, off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful. Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, "Is it over?" And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.